Jurassic World Rebirth is now in theaters, and I went to see it. So this video is my full honest review on the movie, and if you haven't seen it yet, no worries, I will not be providing any spoilers in this video. I'll be ranking this movie in 6 categories: character, plot, visuals, action, pacing, and dinosaurs. Starting off with Category 1, the characters. This movie has a lot of characters, a bit too many, in fact. The first group we get introduced to is the specialist team that will be heading to the island, consisting of a rich guy named Martin Krebs, who is paying for the mission, a paleontologist named Henry Loomis, and 2 covert ops experts, Zora Bennett and Duncan Kincaid. Then there's the second group, a Mexican family on a sailboat that gets rescued by the first group. This family consists of the father, Ruben Delgado, 2 daughters, Bella and Teresa's boyfriend, Xavier Dobbs. Now, while the characters in themselves aren't bad, their development is. There are almost no character arcs in the movie at all, aside from maybe 1 or 2 moments that try to forcibly open up the characters' backstories. And the movie focuses too much on too many people that there just simply isn't enough screen time for any of them to have meaningful improvements, or the other way around. I felt myself rooting for the characters less because I cared about what happened to them, and more because I just wanted more of the movie. All in all, the characters weren't necessarily bad, they were just kind of bland. So for that reason, I'm going to give the character rating a 6.5 out of 10. Next up is the plot. The movie has a really great opening scene. I thought it was almost as good as the opening for Fallen Kingdom, and it led into a really solid beginning for the movie. It established the characters, their mission, why they were doing their mission. The characters were going to be going to this new remote island with more dinosaurs from InGen because they need to get DNA from the 3 biggest species of prehistoric animals. 1 from the air, 1 from the sea, and 1 from the land. But they had to be living. This DNA was supposedly going to help create a cure for certain medical conditions and would be just a crazy medical breakthrough overall. But as the movie went on, the plot got weaker. Things sort of spiraled away from the original story, and it just got messy, especially with how many characters there were. But in the end, everything kind of pulled itself together in a sloppy, patched up way. But it wasn't the worst plot of all the Jurassic movies, if you know what I mean. It just felt a little too human-centered, which seems to be the new norm for movies like this. However, I was still invested all the way through, and I have to give it bonus points for the perfection of the raft scene. Overall, I'm giving the plot a 6.8 out of 10. The third category is the visuals. There is not much to say about it. It is easily the most visually stunning Jurassic movie in the entire franchise. The colors, the lush jungles on the island, the creature designs, CGI, 10 out of 10. Next up is the action. There are lots of really great scenes with lots of intense action sequences almost all the way through. My favorite scene in the movie is definitely the T-Rex raft scene, which David Koepp took influence from in the original novel by Michael Crichton, if you guys didn't know. But it was hard to decide between a couple different scenes, and that says a lot. It had some of the most tense and craziest scenes in the franchise, and the deaths in this movie were absolutely insane. This one is probably one of the more frightening ones in the series, if not number 1. Overall, I'm giving the action category an 8 out of 10. Category 5, pacing. I'm not gonna lie when I say the pacing was kinda hit or miss. Some scenes the pacing felt great, other scenes felt like they dragged on. Not necessarily in a boring way, but just like, get to the next part already. The movie packed a lot of content into a 2-hour runtime, but sometimes it was hard to understand at what part of the plot you were supposed to be at, or whether it was already the climax or not. It was just kind of all over the place towards the middle. Overall, I'm giving the pacing a 6.2 out of 10. Final category, dinosaurs. There were a lot of species appearances in this movie, and while not all of them were actually dinosaurs, including avian species and aquatic species, and also species that aren't even real, I counted a total of 14 unique species shown in the movie. The designs were amazing and they felt alive, less like robotic, mindless monsters from the previous Jurassic World films. There's a good blend of screen time for each of the species, although there are a couple I was hoping would get a little bit more. Overall, I'm pleased with the dinosaurs and how they were handled for this movie, so 7 out of 10. Overall, my average rating comes to 7.41, so I'm rounding up to 7.5 out of 10, which now ranks it as my 4th favorite in the franchise, closely behind the first Jurassic World. I really enjoyed this movie, and although it has its flaws, at the end of the day, none of these movies are ever going to be perfect, and it was really fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed my review, and I hope you go and watch the movie for yourself.